Hello everyone, I am hotscratcher and this is a public service announcement. Serious business, Blastovers can save lives. If you are ever going to get a tattoo, whether you're a client, an enthusiast, you're considering getting a tattoo, you need to know these exist. I'm going to tell you this really gut-wrenching story about this client who wanted to get this blue rose tattoo for years and saved up and finally got it. And now they are literally like cannot cope with living with this tattoo, even though it's beautifully done, really well done. They ended up just not liking it. They were at a tattoo convention. Various things happened that led to this person ultimately getting a tattoo that they don't love. And now they're feeling very trapped. As far as I can tell, this client does not know that Blastovers exist. This is a new contemporary style of, it's not a cover up. It's not removal. It's something different. It's a modern approach to layering tattoos on top of each other. It's controversial. Sure. You can call Blastovers controversial, but I want to show you today how incredible and beautiful they are and all of the incredible things you can do with the Blastover. If you are a client and you have a tattoo you don't like, you always have options, and we're going to look at some incredible options today. And the biggest thing about Blastovers is you will be shocked at the amount of people that have really beautiful, expensive tattoos that they've spent tens of thousands of dollars on that they're getting blasted over by celebrity scratchers and underground artists. I see it almost every day. So a Blastover is putting a new tattoo over the existing tattoo you already have. The old tattoo still shows. That's what makes it different. You can still see the old tattoo underneath some. It's a modern approach and a good option for clients who don't want a lot of black ink or something even more dark or bigger. So this is a close-up of a photo of a femme person with their neck that they had some crosses and dots, a bunch of saturated hand pokes, and then they went to a yogi, this Indian artist, and got these big red solid flames right over the top of the black. You can see that they tattooed red right on top of the black. And this is a Blastover. Look at this madness. So it looks like this person had a professionally done, maybe it looks like a squid or an octopus done in an illustrative style, maybe pen and ink style illustration or like a manga style. I would guess this person probably spent $10,000 on that sleeve. And they went and got it Blastover now. Before, I don't have a before picture, but imagine before this person had this like low contrast, like really beautifully done, masterful tattoo, but maybe it wasn't like striking enough for them. Now they got this Blastover on top. Now this tattoo completely transformed their look, transformed their vibe. They look super tough now, super contemporary. This person knows what's up. They have a badass aesthetic. They look fucking tough as hell. You know what I mean? I'm just really happy for this person because I know how happy they got to be with this. So if we could have given this client like a huge Blastover like this one, it would have completely changed their life. I will say also too, it's really sad on this post on Reddit. If you want to join in every day at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I go through the best of tattoo subreddits. This client mentions in the post, I know it's professionally done. I know it's like a beautiful tattoo, but I'm having troubles living with this tattoo and I don't know what to do. And there's over 1,000 comments and not a single comment was like supportive. They all were just like basically saying, this is such a beautiful tattoo, or, oh, wow, what a beautiful tattoo, blah, blah, blah. And like, it hurts me to my core reading comments like that. I almost never read Reddit comments on tattoo subreddits. It is very rare. I only dug through this comment section because I was actually trying to see if the client followed up because I wanted to send them links to the options and figure out where they are so I could recommend an artist. I'm always trying to help connect clients with the right artist because it's good for the industry, it's good for the artist, it's good for the clients, it's good for everybody. And it's just the right thing to do too if you have a network. But unfortunately, everyone just talked about how beautiful this tattoo was, and that was the last thing this client wanted to hear. They know it's beautiful, and that it invalidates them. You know what I'm saying? And it also makes them feel not heard, so that's not good. Look at this. So this person, yeah, it looks like, I'm trying to see what was underneath. No, it's not Curry Barber. This is more like a, okay, this is a pen and ink style illustrative octopus. It's just their dog's face. They probably ordered it like online or whatever, like uploaded the photo. Yeah, this is a good job. Good job to this client. Okay, so here's a before photo, a person who had just like a realism style back piece. And then here's a line work. And then here's the fill done after. So we got a before And so this person has just got a realism style back piece, sort of realism, like cartoony realism. And then they got like a king, like from a deck of cards, like big bold lines done. It looks like big old like 18 round or like a 11 round liner. All this line work done right on top of the old tattoo, not trying to cover it up. And then they got all of the black filled in solid. So again, this is cool because the tattoo underneath is still there. You can totally see it. They didn't try to cover anything up. This was done by Dmitry Krasovin. And yeah, well done. This is a proper Blastover. That is the definition of a Blastover. This is a very modern approach. We don't see a lot of it. I know at Tattoo, at Archaeology Inc., they did find instances in like the historical record of one ancient tattooed mummy they found that did have some Blastover, which is really cool. And I just wanted to mention this was done a long time ago, the 1996 on Zed by @Zen_not_Zen. This is a Blastover from the 90s. A style that's almost Eurotrash, but it's not. This is a geometric style. This is super rad to see because Blastovers are controversial and modern now. This was in the 90s. I wanted to share this because this is a really sick tattoo. It's someone who had their entire back done with intricate line work, super complicated, and then they got this symbol, like solid fill right on the top of all this other line work. Not trying to cover it up. You could see the ink they used was like a gray wash, not a solid black, because you could tell because you could see right through it. So they used a really light gray to go over it. So this is like a gray wash Blastover. This is a hyper modern experimental. As they said, to use the machine poke style method. That's when you go, you just poke a bunch of dots with the machine. You don't actually use like a big mag and do the thing where you're like, very cool. I just want to mention because a lot of artists are really like talk shit about Blastovers and are negative about them. This is ridiculous. This looks terrible. This doesn't make any sense. I just want to say that I guess been around for a long time and they can just shut the hell up. Blastovers are incredible. They look sick as fuck and they can change lives. They can save lives. So take that stuff somewhere else because tattoo shaming is body shaming. All right. And it's not okay. It's bad for the industry. It's bad for the economy. It's bad for people who love tattoos. It's bad for the artists. It makes them look like assholes. You know what I'm saying? They're basically outing themselves. And it's inappropriate. It's not professional. All right. And then when people are like making fun of folks in the streets of India or whatever, not having any kind of like good sanitation or anything, I never like seeing that. Like, I don't mind seeing this stuff, but I don't like seeing the way people talk about it because all I see is someone who didn't have access to the basic sanitation tools and information that they needed to do a tattoo safely. And I just see like a failure in like a supply chain, failure in education, and a failure on the artist's part to make content more accessible. Shout out Meta and YouTube now. They're auto translating our videos if you like qualify and if you like sign up for it. We are definitely qualified and our videos are being translated to Hindi. Bless up in 2026 with the power of AI tools. We're able to actually reach people in their language and making our content more accessible so we're able to actually educate these people. So all I see is I want to help that person. I don't want to make fun of them. Anyway, moving on. This is my favorite ever Blastover photo. It's at pang.inc. And this is a blast over under. That is the sort of proper term. So this person has basically their whole upper body tattooed from their waist up in a sort of black and gray style, illustrative kind of. And they had a tattoo above their right pec, and I don't know what it was, and they didn't want it anymore. But instead of getting a laser, they got it blast over, and then the artist ran this big bold line underneath their other tattoos, and then it came out down below. So this is called a blast over because it just scribbled on top of the existing tattoo. So see, you can still see the old tattoo underneath, but who knows what it is. And this is just such a cool tattoo. It's very striking. It's unique. I love an abstract tattoo. It's like such a statement piece. It's a great photo. Okay, this is at Coldonovela in Bilbao, Spain. So we're seeing a lot of people getting their solid color sleeves that are getting to be a couple of years old now, either completely blacked out or getting like heavy black work on top of it. So this is a Blastover, and this is a specific approach, a specific type of Blastover where I call it heavy black work, where you use a methodology to just use heavy black work patterns to cover up the old stuff underneath. And it looks cool. And I'll tell you, it's hard to tell from the photo because it's a lived experience. When this person is now perceived when they walk into a room in a professional environment and meeting new people, and they are going to get treated differently. That's why the power of tattoos is so awesome. This looks a lot more professional than their old work. They just had, their old work was, again, I'm sure they spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on it. It was some beautiful work. It was really cool, but at the end of the day, a lot of this sort of trad, neo-trad style of tattooing can look cartoony. And as it ages, like the ink, it's called light fastness. A lot of the inks get like a lot lighter. And it's just not the vibe for a lot of people. And you get this heavy black work on top, and it really makes you seem more serious, more professional, more hardcore. And it does a lot for appearing professional. And it really helps. I love this. This is so good. Here we have a before picture of a client who had some professionally done traditional tattoos, black and gray. It's like a cutie pie inside of a peony, a classic trad like flash off the wall. That's probably just flash off the wall, and then a snake probably just flash off the wall. It looks like maybe another small tattoo. I see a lot of this. Clients are collecting flash, like trad flash, getting it done in a professional artist, professional shop, piecing it together, and they end up not feeling the vibe. And check out the after. Boom. So the client got some abstract spiky black work over the top. Just check this out. So this is another blast over under. Specifically, the cutie pie was like bothering the client, the face, because it was like distasteful and just not the vibe. So this is another at goth cat dog tattoo. I love that artist. I did my whole arm blast over. We'll look at in a bit. So they just went through, freehanded this spiky black work. You can see some of it is on top of the tattoo and some of it weaves underneath of it. And the effect is that this tied it all together, makes it all look cohesive and badass and contemporary. And now they look really tough. Right here, this person is like lower working class sort of perceived. Now they got this, the coolest person in the room, you know what I'm saying? A little more like step up of social class with the way they're perceived with this sick tattoo. And here's a great before and after. Again, you can see on the left the before. Nothing wrong with these tattoos, professionally done tattoos, trad work. And on the right is after getting the blast over done. Y'all, this is the miracle, the power of Blastover Tattoos. They save lives. It's so important. Make sure to share this. Go ahead, subscribe to Underblast Inc. on YouTube right now. And make sure to send this to a friend that maybe doesn't know about Blastovers. I think it's really important that we share the word and get this knowledge out here. I don't ever want to see another client again that's posting for advice on the Tattoo Advice subreddit where they feel like they're just at a dead end and they feel trapped and they're literally just like venting because they've already given up. And that's just really sad. That should never happen. Like, you get the big tattoo, it's like, that's just like the first step to getting a masterpiece. You know what I mean? There's always options. All right, this is gonna make all the traditional artists mad, so apologies in advance. I love all tattoos. I don't pick sides. I think people doing hand pokes on themselves with sewing needles and stuff, I think that's tough. I think that's badass. I respect it. I love tattoo. I'm diehard. I'm hardcore. I'm not one to judge, all right? But I know the trad artists are gonna get really mad at this. Here is a client that has a bodysuit of sacred geometry that's professionally done. They went to a really good artist. I bet they spent probably 20 grand on all of these gorgeous sacred geometry tattoos. And they went to at Consumed 1993, a super gritty underground celebrity scratcher artist, and got this spiky black work right on the top of their $20,000 bodysuit. And I'm seeing a lot of this happen. And you know what? This tattoo, the sacred geometry, was almost so perfect it's boring. You know what I'm saying? And it's of course it's good. It looks great. But like now this person, and I hope they keep going with it. Like now their whole look is transformed. They're edgy, they're tough, they look badass. And in my opinion, I think this looks even more like professional, even more badass. It's changed their figure. It's like shortened their waist. It's widened their like hips. And if they keep going with this and end up getting this spiky black work layered on top of the really professionally done expensive sacred geometry, It's just a hell of a badass look, and I think they're gonna have a hell of a tattoo if they keep going with this. What do you guys think of this? Please leave a comment. I really want to hear what your thoughts specifically on this tattoo. They probably spent 20 grand going to professional sacred geometry tattoo. We got a sneak peek of their left sleeve here. You know what I'm saying? This person is probably like 20 plus tattoo day sessions on their body of this full body suit of sacred geometry. And now they're just getting this like wicked black work done. Tell me how you feel about this, because I really want to hear. Personally, this is incredible and I love it, and it's so badass. Really. Here is another great example of what a Blastover is. Very simple. So it's just handwriting text that says, "I won't fucking break." This is done by @European.sun.222, Patrick Bass. And he used one of those, they're called 88 round shaders. It's a big, crazy, giant needle made by Ink Claw, hand poke. And here is someone, they got covered in professional tattoos. They don't have any space left. And a lot of artists would be like, oh, I don't have any more space left. I got nowhere to put a tattoo. But what Patrick did is just put this big. So, you know, what you got to do, though, is you got to go big and you got to go bold. Because if you would have just used a smaller needle like normal and done this smaller, you wouldn't notice the Blastover. You know what I'm saying? He did what a good professional tattoo artist does. You consider contrast, you consider line weight, you consider placement. And he went bold, he went strong. He also balanced it because the ing would have been like too wide in the middle and would have felt weird. So he made like a really good decision to put the ing under the word fuck. So it like has this nice flow and balance, considering this person has pretty symmetrical tattoos. So this is the work of a professional artist, and it's a really good Blastover. Okay, so here's a Blastover I did. I think it's like maybe 2 years healed. I did a Powerline tattoo, and the client had these angels already, and they had these botanicals on the back of their arms. So what I did was I placed the Powerline tattoo on her like lower back. So this is a Powerline back piece tattoo. I put the Powerline in like her lower left side of her back, and then just went right over the top of all of her existing tattoos and ran with it. And it worked out great. It helped tie all of her other tattoos together. If you look, I did these lines on the back of her arm and on left and right side, and they go connect across her back and then up over the top of these angels and over her shoulder too. So basically by running these lines across all of these other tattoos, it really connects them all, ties it all together, makes everything make sense. It's really nice. This is me. This is my arm. This is done by @GothCatDog. So as you can see, I had some pretty well done apprentice tattoos on my arm. It was like a peony and some honeycombs and a pretty badass bee. And I just wanted something that looked tough, that looked more professional, looked more cohesive. So I went to GothCatDog, and they did this really sick Blastover. Look at this. So it really helped tie my arm together. And to this day, I get compliments on this tattoo all the time. And it's just, again, the power of a Blastover is really good. So here's a really cool Blastover done by @CyberSigilism, @AngelBlood is their other IG. Their name's AI, LA based. This person had some really old faded head tattoos. And you can see what AI did was they literally just tattooed right over the top of the old faded tattoos, and you just pretend like they're not there. And this person's look completely revived. Now all of a sudden they went from having these old faded blue blobby looking tattoos, can't even tell what they are. And now they have this wicked heavy black work, spiky, modern style tattoo. They're completely revamped their look. All right, here's another cool example. This is a classic example of what a Blastover is. This client had a big, colorful tattoo on their side, professionally done, traditional tattoo at a professional shop. Looked like maybe a bird, and they had some other birds and some like other botanical stuff. What they did is they got this big, giant, hyper bold tribal flames pattern right on top of their other color work. And you could tell like the artist did not cover up this lion. She has a really cool lion tattoo on her back that's a lot fresher and newer and more detailed, but you can see the old stuff they blasted over is like starting to get really faded and blurry. So this is just a great example of like, the power of a Blastover. Instead of trying to laser it and instead of trying to cover it up, this is such a better solution, because if you would have tried to fully cover that tattoo that's underneath of it, you would have had to have this massive area of solid black. and or color or whatever. And a lot of clients unfortunately think that's their only option, and they go that route, and they end up getting in a worse situation than when they started, because now they just got a bunch of extra heavy black work and the artist wasn't even able to design anything. So if you just like let it go and be okay with the old tattoos shining through and free yourself, you will end up having some really cool tattoos that way. Here's another example of someone who got like a Blastover on top of a $10,000 tattoo. So this is like a super master level realism tattoo this person had on maybe their chest. They have a big chest piece. It's like these two skulls. One has a cloak over it. One has a crown of thorns. And I can see in the background, in between the two skulls in the center of their chest, they had a negative space sacred heart there. And to me, I see this beautiful gray wash tattoo, this negative space sacred heart. Personally, I loved the original, but obviously the client like felt like the heart wasn't like strong enough. Maybe that was like really important to them symbolically or whatever. So they went to this artist and got this crazy, hyper bold new sacred heart in like a silhouette style on top of the negative space one as a Blastover. This is highly creative, really cool. It's hyper modern approach. We'd love to see it. Look at this insane Blastover. This is by @joza.inc. He's a Greek artist named Giannis. He's at Puppy Studio. And this is so cool. It's a giant, just heavy, big black paint strokes with a big red, solid filled doodle flower. So let's see if we can see what was underneath. We don't have a before picture. I'm looking at this client's back piece and it looks like, okay, I can see it. They had a sort of realism style, full professionally done realism back piece tattoo with a bunch of like ornamentals. Looks like there was a clock, some flowers. So here is yet again another example of someone getting their like $10,000 back piece covered up with some crazy shit. You know what I mean? This is just insanely badass. I am obsessed with abstract tattoo, like tattoos that are just aesthetic. Like they're not symbolic. They don't mean anything. They're just hardcore. They're just tough. And a good example of red on top of black. So this is color on top of black as a Blastover. And look how cool it looks. You can actually see the color realism tattoo underneath the red. And I will say, I'm sure this is going to look fine, but usually when you are doing red on top of black or just red in general, you want to get another layer of red done 6 months later or 3 to 6 months later, because that's how you get the red to really pop. I personally, if I'm doing like a lot of red on a client, I really advocate for them to come back in 3 to 6 months to get another pass of red. Although Giannis is like a world-class tattoo artist, maybe he doesn't need to. It's probably fine. Look at this Blastover. I have this post up on @CelebrityScratcher on Instagram. This client had some fine line leaves wrapping around their forearm and some lettering that looks like it was done too bold. This is "Wish You Were Here," but it's starting to blob. And other tattoos look kind of low class, random. They don't look super professional or anything. And they went and got this, I would just call this like straight cyber sigillism style / Eurotrash inspired. This is a Blastover. This is a perfect example of what a Blastover is. The artist did not try to cover up the other tattoo. They just did a whole new aesthetic. There's a power in getting an aesthetic tattooed instead of a specific object. So if you think about it, I'm going to dress like I'm like goth today or whatever. Like you have a new aesthetic, like approaching a tattoo as an abstract piece of art is like a really powerful thing, and you can really get a good tattoo that way. Here's a really interesting Blastover. This is actually on my page. This is done by Ink by Moss, and oh my god, so many people. This post actually went viral because so many people were mad about this Blastover. So Moss does a contemporary Philippine tribal tattoo, and he just went ahead and just layered a Philippine contemporary tribal tattoo over the old one. Like the old tattoo that was there is, again, it's hyper modern approach. Like it's like experimental, but I think it looks so cool. I'm just obsessed with this. I just seen it and I was like, that is so experimental and modern to just straight up layer on top of a bunch of old tattoos. So this is a proper Blastover. It's really cool. Shout out Moss. Here's a process of Blastover. This is by Willow Wright Tattoo. It's a big doodle skull. And it looks like they're blasting over on top of some professionally done trad style like chrysanthemums or something. This on their forearm. So yeah, this tattoo, it looks fuzzy, faded, doesn't have a lot of contrast. It's not nothing wrong with it. It's just a style that I personally don't like, and they're probably ready for something different too. And yeah, you can see, look at this process. So there's a stencil, and then they did huge, thick, hyper bold outlines, and then they packed it all with red. Just pretended like the tattoo underneath of it wasn't even there. Oh, here's another person that got their traditional tattoos blasted over by a scratcher. This person got their completely look just revitalized, revamped, looking so rad. This is done by @soft.demon in Stockholm, Sweden, and this is a Blastover textbook. So this client came to this artist. They call it like biker dust. It's like these dots and filler. And it's just a professionally done traditional tattoo. And again, this starts to happen. It's so bold. It starts to fade over time. Everything loses its like wow factor. And they went in and got this spiky black work on top of it, and now it looks badass. Now like their whole look is transformed. All right, this is from a PowerPoint I made. I'm not gonna go over this whole thing, but you're never trapped with your tattoo you have. You can always get it blacked out. You can always get it blasted over. There's laser. There's lots of different options. So if you're a client and you're like, feel like you're stuck with your tattoo, like fret not. There's always stuff that can be done. And don't ever hesitate to reach out to Underblast, hello@underblast.com. Send us an email. We love connecting clients with artists and helping you solve difficult problems. The last thing I ever want to see is someone feel like they're trapped with their tattoo. It's like really sad when we see that, and we never ever want that to happen. Don't hesitate to reach out. Ask us questions. Oh, here's another @gothcatdog tattoo. So this person had, again, professionally done tattoos. They had a collection of bugs and millipedes and spider webs and a bunch of cool bugs and botanical. And again, professionally done. But you know what? This Blastover, all of a sudden, this person's look is so strong now. Like they got this badass, spiky, heavy black work that ties together all the old stuff and completely made their whole look. What do you guys think of this one? I really want to know your opinion on this, because personally, I think this person's tattoo, it tied it all together. And you know what? I can still see all the other stuff. You know what I mean? You could still see all the other really cool tattoos they have underneath of it. And I really feel like that adds to it. One more goth cat dog for the road. Again, same situation. A client just had a bunch of professional trad work done and then got this crazy metal as fuck Blastover on it. And now it looks super rad. This is done by @pain.love.co. And then it's the 4 instead of an A. This person, again, someone who has spent thousands of dollars getting all this professional tattoo work done, and then they went to a celebrity scratcher, to get a bunch of like crazy black work blasted over the top of all of their pro stuff. So yeah, @pain.love.co did this really badass like black work on top of this person's old trad work. And it really did a lot. This person looks really cool, really tough now. I think their old stuff didn't really fit the body super well. It wasn't super wow factor. So this really transformed this person's whole look. Another one by @pain.love.co. Same sort of situation. This person had a bunch of random tattoos and they did a heavy black work. This is inspired by 90s tribal. If you're not aware, the 90s tribal movement it's on the 20-year trend cycle, right? And it's coming back in the underground scene. And these young underground artists that are doing this style got introduced to it for the first time. And it's not like appropriation like it was. You know what I'm saying? This is like an underground movement. You're getting it from young artists who like weren't exposed to it in the sense that it was like directly appropriated from indigenous communities. They're just seeing old magazines and like old posts and stuff like that. And that's how they're getting introduced to it for the first time. And they're like running with it and doing these crazy Blastovers. Like this, if you're not aware, this is a trend right now. Underground celebrity scratchers are literally doing 90s tribal with a twist Blastovers. Here's another one. I'm telling you, it's a thing, y'all. It's so rad. This is done by Exiled, an LA-based artist, on the Artist Church. 90s tribal scratcher underground Blastovers. Looks so sick. And this is like a Eurotrash style artist. So you can see like, I don't know, this aesthetic is so sick. Again, another 90s tribal design. This is done by Oreo Folli in Milan, Italy. This person had, it looks like a Eurotrash sleeve. And then came in and got like this. That's just a classic, like straight out of the Ball Machine sticker. That's called Neo Tribal. It's cool to see it coming back. Here's another great Blastover done by @Krylev. This is a LA-based artist, private studio. It looks like this person got a Blastover on top of some really professionally done tattoos. It looks like they had illustrative pen and ink style tattoo, half sleeve on their upper arm. And they came to Krylev and got this like really crazy, hardcore, like super black Blastover on top of it. Yeah, really awesome. Again, imagine before. This person's whole aesthetic changed. Their life changed. They feel empowered. They feel tough. When they walk into a room, people are like, whoa, your tattoos are crazy, bro. That's so sick. You know what I mean? You get all of this different sort of reactions with people, and people treat you differently, treat you better. This is done by @Korbfletcher, KORBFLECHTER. I think they're in Berlin. I love this artist. They're super sweetheart, really great person. So they do these like really fat, thick lines, and they do this just really interesting, ornate sort of line work on top of other tattoos. So this is just a classic Blastover with really thick, bold lines. Really cool, interesting stuff. Here is someone, again, someone's got like a $10,000 sleeve, professionally done with like color realism style. And then they're getting a Blastover. It looks like they're going to get the lion head. Maybe they don't love the lion face anymore. Personally, I think having this like really sick color tattoo underneath of that black is what makes this such an incredible tattoo. I've never seen anything like it. Like the mix up, the mashup, the genre mashup is just crazy awesome. And I just love to see it. Man, I want to hear y'all's opinion in the comments. What do you think of this? Just look at this chunk right here. I feel like this spiky black work is doing a lot to transform this person's look and make them look really cool, really tough, really interesting. This is done by Cyber Sigilism, Angel Blood, AINGEL Blood. They're an LA-based artist that does heavy black work. And same sort of situation. Looks like this client just had a bunch of random professionally done tattoos that didn't really tie together very well. AI came in and just did this huge, sick sigil pattern with like heavy black work on top of it all. And yeah, again, total transformation. This person went from having lower class, like not unremarkable tattoos that weren't striking, and now they have this really powerful, striking tattoo that just like really does, like, you command the room when you come in. If you're not familiar with the Petunia twins, they're twins tattoo artists in LA. And they recently got some heavy black work done on top of all of their old color work. So you can see they're fully tatted up with this color style. And again, guys, this is what I'm saying. When you get older, the colors start to fade. Those big, thick, bold hold lines start to blur. The tattoos like aren't so striking anymore. And it starts, I don't know how to explain it. And I think everyone knows this and doesn't want to admit it. But like this look, like these full color saturation style looked kind of cartoony. This like sort of trad, neo-trad style. And it doesn't age well, I don't think, personally. This is what they're doing. Boom. So you can imagine now, imagine this person giving a seminar. So like before versus now, like it's like the difference between wearing a suit and wearing pajamas. Seriously. If you go to the store in your pajamas, it's like whatever. But if you go there and you're wearing like a really nice suit, people treat you different. It's the same with getting this heavy black work done. It's just wild. Same thing with Machine Gun Kelly. I'm sure you guys have seen this. He had a bunch of random tattoos. And then he got this heavy black work done by Rox, ROXX, an LA-based black work artist. Again, y'all, it's the difference between wearing like pajamas or it's the difference between driving like an old rusty banged up Honda Civic versus driving like a really nice Mercedes or something. You know what I mean? That's the difference, the way people treat you out in public when you look like that versus look like this. It really is a powerful transformation. It's incredible. And then last post, so this is a tattoo I did. This is a style I was working on where I do an Underblast and a Blastover. So I actually designed this from scratch. This person didn't have any tattoos on their leg. So I started with these fine line, I started with these more bold line sunflowers and pen and ink style. And then I went through and underneath of them, I did all these super fine line sage branches. And then on top of all of it with bold, thick lines, just like we've seen earlier with Patrick Bates and stuff, like the lettering on top of all the other stuff. I did a new approach, like a sort of super contemporary approach I was doing to tattoo designs where I incorporate an Underblast and a Blastover in a new tattoo. So I'm not like just going back and trying to fix up something old. This is something I planned from the beginning. And I've seen some other celebrity scratchers do this too at pain.love.co. I've seen planning Underblast and Blastover as part of their process. So it's evolving and everyone's getting better and getting more interesting with it. I really love to see it. I love to see the thing getting pushed. If you're a client, if you're a tattoo client or an artist, make sure to tune in every day at 10 a.m. Pacific time on our YouTube channel at Underblast Inc. Make sure to press that subscribe button. Make sure to leave a comment. Tell us what you think of these tattoos and tune into the live stream every day. We go through Tattoo Reddit. We answer clients' questions. We educate people. That's what this post is about. This is really important. It's like, I am like way up past my bedtime working on this right now. It's fucking important because I don't want to see people out there who are passionate about getting tattooed, who ended up in this situation where they feel trapped and they feel like miserable and they feel like there's nothing they can do simply because they just haven't had the opportunity to get exposed to the big world of tattoos out there. Maybe they're isolated for whatever reason. And it makes me really sad when, like I said, it's bad for the industry. It's bad for everyone. It doesn't need to be like that. So there's so much you can do. And it's really important to share this stuff. Sharing knowledge is a gift. It's a pleasure to have you here.